What up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is the first video after quitting my job. If you guys see my last video, I did quit my full-time job so I can make more YouTube videos. Today has been cold. We have this heater running and I also added this one just to try and keep up because my feet be cold. Anyways, today we have to try and get our crank signal back in this thing because we lost it somehow. I don't even know how.
You stupid.
And if you haven't already, make sure to visit boostedlifestyle.com, get all your merch. I do have a couple of Hall effect style sensors here we can try. This is actually the speed sensor from this engine. It's a used one. But I also, where'd I put it? Over here. I also picked up this one. This is from a Volkswagen. It has like a really narrow sensor. This is also a Hall effect style sensor. So I'm gonna see if I can try and get this thing to pick up our signal. Victory has been mine. So all I did right now, I put this in here, this speed sensor thing, and then I hooked it up to these wires, which, kind of correlate. I gotta put that one back on. So those wires right there, the gap is actually pretty big, but this can squish down a little tiny bit more. But if I take our camera, our RPM is right here. Boom, steady RPM. Holy jeez. Failing upward, baby, like I said it before. You keep doing it, and then you fail, and then you do not the same that next time, and then boom, nailed it. Next up, get a wire, see if we can get it to run. Please don't judge me. No way, it just ran a little bit. All right, let's try this again one more time real quickly with some more fuel pressure maybe. Just see if it's more fuel pressure. Definitely more fuel pressure. It's trying to start. We're close. We're close. Man, that totally ran for a second. If nothing else, that was good for morale. At least we know it has the potential to run. I do feel a little air leak on the intake manifold side somewhere, and I don't know why.
You stupid.
And I don't know where it's coming from. Considering we've got fuel puddled right here, it's probably safe to assume that the intake manifold is leaking right here still. So we're gonna have to take the intake manifold flange off again, figure out why it's not sealing, if we have to put more epoxy in there, but it should be sealing, it's flat. It looks like our flange was actually hitting this piece right there, which sticks out just a little bit more, as you can see, which was allowing air and fuel to drop out through the bottom, but also allowed air to pass underneath, giving the engine no engine vacuum. So the solution is gonna be to notch the bottom like this, because I did notice a small little dent here, and that's from trying to compress it on that piece right there. So I'll flatten this up, clean it up a little bit, put a bigger notch in it just to make sure that it's gonna clearance, and then silicone it back up, jam it back on, maybe try test fire again. The only thing that can go wrong is it freaking catches fire, and then it already caught fire once before. We actually ended up having two trouble spots. There's also another one right here where this piece actually sticks out further than the flange, so I had to grind that down a little bit. It's all back together. We'll get a wire back up, see if it'll run again. This is like take 2 for today, but like take like 27 for the project. I'm so bad at electronics. Come on, baby. Come on, feel the noise. Girls, rock your boys. Okay, we're online. Stressful moment sitting over here. Okay, let's try more fuel again, because I took a whole bunch out of it because it was leaking. Okay, Clearly we don't know what we're doing. Oh, we're so close to getting to fire. When I was trying to check ignition timing, I actually noticed that our RPM was all wonky. It wasn't actually reading 100%, and I think it's because our sensor's a little bit loose in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and strap down our sensor so it's tighter to the wheel. A strap, boy, look at that. That's some homemade engineering if I ever seen it myself. Probably could have went under that bolt, but I didn't because the bolt was just in the way. I have no RPM. What the hell? Weird. The RPM is still pretty sporadic. It's so weird. Take a look at our engine speed right here. I'm gonna hopefully move this closer for you. So just watch our engine speed while we do this. You stupid. I feel like if we can get a little more consistent RPM signal, we'll be able to get this thing to fire. But the problem is I'm having to space this sensor out so far to even get this, and it's sporadic as hell, and if I move it closer I get no RPM. So I don't know if this sensor is going to work with the tooth pattern that I have on my wheel because the teeth aren't very high. So I'm not even sure, man. Alright, I tried the red sensor again, didn't work. My next option is to make this hole a bit bigger, and I think I'm gonna go with an LS style sensor, wherever I put it. Oh, right here, in the garbage. An LS style sensor. So we're gonna open that hole up, see if that'll fit in there. This is basically our last resort. I mean, it's kind of in there. It's, we're gonna have to do some shimming and testing once I do get it on there to figure it out. And then once it's working, hopefully, we can get a final position for it and get it all sealed up. It's a lot of ghetto wiring today, isn't it? Didn't work. Man, I am so stumped. After much diagnostic testing, I've come to find out that we might need a little tiny resistor like this little tiny thing between our power wire and our signal wire on our crank sensor when we use the pink crank sensor, which is this one. This is also the same style sensor that DIY AutoTune sells as a crank sensor. So they do have a little bit of a write-up on how to use the sensor. So I'm going to try and put the resistor between the two wires in this thing, wire it up, and see if we get RPM signal that way. Man, we're getting really good at ghetto wiring stuff up. Here comes the moment of truth, I guess. So here's our lost sync counter, and here's our engine speed. So we're trying to get engine speed without no lost syncs. Make sense? Ooh! Hey! We did it! Yes! 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 That was steady RPM. One lost sync counter. Ah! After the bejesus time testing it. So what we had to do was we had to put it into this shielded cable in. Just the one wire. This one's bare. Our step from our 12 volts up to that wire, and then we just ground it over here to the head somewhere for now. But that means we can attempt to start this thing right now, and if it starts, I'm gonna have a man-gasm. And if it doesn't start, I'm throwing a fucking wrench across the room. Okay, that was good, but that was also bad, because no, I don't know why it didn't. I can smell fuel though, so it's getting fuel. oil, but I don't care. Yes! We're leaking a bit of oil out of right here. Is this not tight? Oh, that wasn't tight. Okay. No way, it just ran! Oh my God, it's so smoky in here, but what a relief, holy God. Now that we know the engine runs and that we can fire it with the micro squirt, we can move on, holy. I feel like the last little bit, I've just been chasing my tail trying to get crank signal with this thing, and I didn't know if the trigger was gonna work, but we came up with a plan, we executed it. This is a super custom crank trigger wheel on a Raptor. Now we have full control of the ignition timing, full control of the boost. If it was a built engine, we could throw a lot of boost at it and control the ignition timing, but it's not. But we still have control of the ignition timing. Holy, what a relief that is. It ran! It ran! Now we're not satisfied with that, are we? We need to hear this with the turbo and the exhaust on there. So what we need to do is get oil, feed, and return. And I've been in contact with someone who told me that we can get feed from here if we put an additional banjo bolt in this thing. So we're going to try and pull this bolt, see if we can get a longer banjo bolt, and then get another fitting so we can stack another fitting on top of this one. And then a return from the turbo is just gonna come down into the drain plug. Since this is like a semi-dry sump style setup, it's just gonna suck the excess oil out of it and put it back in the tank anyways. So pull the drain plug fitting, pull this fitting, go to the hardware store, see if we can get some fittings. I almost forgot that we have an oil sandwich plate here that will work perfect if I just put this on this piece. It fits. Oh my God, it might fit. I might have to turn it down a little bit, like grind a little bit off so it fits clearances there, but I think that's gonna fit on there. Oh yeah, buddy, look at it. That's gonna work perfect. Now we don't have to try and steal oil from up here. I can put that bolt back in. So we just have to get a bolt for the bottom side for our return for our turbo now. All right, we got a hydraulic fitting for our oil return. The only thing is we gotta drill it out a little bit because it is pretty meaty. It's a hydraulic fitting. It's probably meant to hold a lot of pressure, but we don't need it to hold pressure, so we can drill that hole out so it's more returnable. Freaking mint. Yay. Yay. Chewing a little off center, but that's gonna be okay because I'm a little off center too. Alrighty, time to put this baby back on. So Danny boy showed up to help. Still rocking the mustache, I see. Yep, me too.
I was gonna say, you're much better.
No, yeah, okay. Remember boostedlifestyle.com for all your merch? Not this, and that. Yep.
Not these ones.
But the new style one. Danny boy's gonna Teflon tape in these things right here and then put a fitting in this one so we can run a line from here to there. Our other line's gonna run from here down there to that oil piece that we just put in the bottom. And I'm gonna take the tank off and put a oil return fitting in it so we can run our this tank instead of the factory style tank.
I'm gonna put a bung in it.
Put a bong in it.
Bong.
That up, I wonder.
This is like the thinnest tape I've ever seen.
The threadest tape?
The thinnest.
Oh yeah. Oh, I f***ed that fitting up. I done messed it up. I got too aggressive with it. Damn it. Frickin' minty tank done. Ow, hot, ow. That was stupid of me. Minty tank is done. Dan put our oil feed line on for now. It's just a temporary line. Oil return line right here. down. Now we have to put the tank in, cut these lines like right here and right there in the metal part, put some -6, just slip them over top and clamp them down, and I think that should be good. And then we can try and fire it with, ooh, the bull horns. Look at them. Man, that's gonna be so cool. It looks exactly like your mustache. Put it up next to your face. Nice. All right, Danny Boy and me gonna fill up that fuel can right there because, as you can see, we got everything hooked back up. The exhaust is actually on. Our charge piping, no clamps on it right now, but we're just gonna try and idle it. We got our return to the tank here, our feed to the engine, everything fits there. Tank is filled up. Gotta fill up our fuel can real ghetto-like. I don't remember how we did it last time, but...
With great difficulty.
Actually, that funnel might fit in a 6AN line. There's crayon in the toolbox, but we get the job done.
That cool blue.
Oh yeah, it's leaking a little bit. Yep. Are you gonna hook them all together?
I'm gonna attempt, just because we have...
Here, move the battery.
Yeah, it's gonna move.
There you go. Our car battery, this might actually have to run on a car battery eventually. I don't know how much the stator charges, if it can even run a decent fuel pump. So it's just a fuel pump ground and the...
Starter off to go.
Okay, here goes nothing then. Put you right here. Watch that turbo.
Yeah, fuel.
Hold on one second. Come on, phone out on video.
Okay.
Okay. Here goes nothing. First start with the turbo. It's definitely too much fuel because as fuel pressure dropped there, it got significantly better.
Yeah, lean is mean.
Dude! That worked! It sounds good too.
It smells good too.
Oh, it's so bad in here. It's another one of those like we made it run and now we have to get out of here kind of deals because it's definitely,
but it might be high.
It's definitely a lot of fuel. Like my eyes are burning a little bit now, and we can't really open the garage door because it's
We'll die.
minus bajillion out. Maybe open this one for a second. Turn the heat. Dude, so we don't have a TPS, we don't have a coolant temperature sensor, we don't have a radiator right now, and we don't have a wideband, so we can't tell if there's too much fuel, but there's definitely too much fuel.
No,
I
we
tried.
can tell there's too much fuel.
Yeah, I tried to like rev it up, and it was dummying itself on its face. But that's a thing for Adam to figure out, because Adam at AFR AutoWorks is going to tune it for us. But we know it runs now. It runs, everything works, it's functional. I wonder, like, I should pull that line off to see if any
Oil made it in?
oil went back to the tank or whatever, but dude, progress. That's huge. That is a big thing off my chest, and now we can move on to something else, because that was like, it felt like forever we were trying to get this thing to run. We started to get it to run, and then we ended up having to redo the valves in the head because it was messed up and the timing chain was messed up. So we went from something that didn't run at all to putting it on a new ECU and making it run. Pretty friggin' cool.
Making your own reluctor wheel and...
Yeah, own trigger wheel, own intake manifold, like... This is a pretty custom deal right here. I had to go above and beyond. Like, how easy it would have been just to put a stock Raptor engine in there with a stock ECU and everything that was already running. I'd have been done this months ago.
Would have been a 2-day job.
Yeah, it would have been done months ago. We're gonna have to get like a key, a starter solenoid, some relays, and wire everything properly. Everything should fit underneath the hood and stuff, so it's gonna look like our little Pro Mod lawnmower still. Like that tank fits under there, I made sure of that. So Dan and I were just talking, like, although the Mega Squirt or the Micro Squirt was a pain in the ass to set up and it was like out of my skill range, now that I've done it, I kind of have the basic understanding of it. And now we could take something like that single cylinder engine over here, we could put a trigger wheel on that and an injector, and we could basically set up EFI on that, or if you had some sort of silly thing that we wanted to put EFI on, it's as little as getting the crank sensor, a ring, and then hooking up your stuff. Like it's not a huge deal. That is a different story. That's our CBR 1000 engine. That's already EFI'd. It's gonna go in something eventually. But yeah, it was a learning process, but now that you've learned it, you can take that knowledge and you can put it onto the next build. So yeah. I'll have more confidence in being like, oh, let's EFI something else another day. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Peace easy. Get that V. Creeper mustache.